As we move through 2025, it's becoming clear that global business is not just changing, it's reorganizing itself around a different logic. For decades, we operated in a rules-based, efficiency-driven system. Supply chains were optimized for cost. Capital flowed freely. Politics sat in the background. That world is fading. What's replacing it is a power-based, resilience-driven system. One where geopolitics, technology, and societal forces actively shape markets, strategies, and outcomes. This isn't chaos. It's complexity. And the difference matters. At the core of this shift are three structural changes. First, the world has moved from globalization to fragmented multipolarity. Power is no longer concentrated in a few aligned centers. Instead, influence is spread across the US, China, Europe, and the rising global south, each with different priorities, models, and constraints. Alignment is fluid and transactional. As a result, global strategies no longer work by default. Strategy has to be region-specific. Second, the economic logic itself has changed. The old model rewarded efficiency, lowest cost, just-in-time supply chains, and global scale. Today, that logic is being replaced. Resilience matters more than efficiency. Redundancy matters more than speed. Political acceptability matters as much as economics. What used to be treated as risk management is now a source of competitive advantage. Third, markets are no longer the primary shapers of outcomes. States are. Governments are actively directing capital, politicizing trade, reshaping supply chains, and redefining competition. Success increasingly depends not just on customer demand or innovation, but on policy fluency and government alignment. These shifts give rise to the 10 forces reshaping global business. In the US, the America First approach prioritizes domestic strength over global leadership. Trade is used as leverage. Alliances are transactional. Policy continuity can be assumed. For businesses, this creates opportunity, but also strategic uncertainty that must be planned for. China at the same time is pivoting. Externally, it's reducing reliance on Western markets and deepening ties with the global south. Internally, it's shifting toward advanced manufacturing and frontier technologies. Even amid decoupling, China remains a scale-driven, state-backed technology powerhouse. As the traditional Western-led order fragments, the global south is gaining agency. These economies now account for the majority of global population and future growth. They are pragmatic, multi-aligned, and focused on development. Growth opportunities are real, but they require local partnerships, political neutrality, and long-term commitment. Europe faces its own reckoning. It offers regulatory certainty and institutional stability, but struggles with the innovation speed, energy costs, and fragmentation. It's safer for operations than for breakout growth unless structural reforms accelerate. On the economic front, trade itself is being reconfigured. Trade volumes may grow, but routes are changing. Supply chains are regionalizing. Where you produce and ship is no longer an operational decision, it's a strategic one. At the same time, competition for technological leadership is intensifying. AI, semiconductors, quantum computing, and green technologies are now geopolitical assets. Access to technology is political. Innovation strategies must account for export controls, alliances, and control over critical minerals. Economic nationalism has become a permanent feature, not a temporary phase. Governments are intervening more frequently through tariffs, subsidies, and investment controls. Regulatory unpredictability is now a constant, complicating capital allocation and long-term planning. Overlaying all of this is a backdrop of persistent conflict. Disruption is no longer episodic, it's baseline risk. Sanctions, cyber threats, energy insecurity, and regional instability continue to reshape supply chains and operations. Climate change adds another unavoidable layer. Extreme weather, resource scarcity, and physical risk now directly affect asset values and business continuity. Regardless of politics, the economics of low-carbon solutions and climate adaptation are compelling. And finally, societies themselves are fragmenting. Polarization is eroding trust in institutions, media, and corporations. Consumers, employees, and regulators are more divided and more vocal. In this environment, reputation, values, and narrative management become strategic assets. When you step back, a clear pattern emerges. The world isn't becoming more chaotic, it's becoming more complex. The companies that struggle are often the ones still using gold mental models, over-centralizing decisions, chasing efficiency at all costs, and treating geopolitics as something to be managed on the sidelines. The companies that win do the opposite. They decentralize. They design for multiple futures. They treat geopolitics as part of strategy, not just risk. The implication for leaders is straightforward, even if the execution isn't. Build geopolitical intelligence. Regionalize operations and decision-making. Design for resilience and optionality. And invest in trust, internally and externally. In this world, adaptability beats scale, resilience beats efficiency, and foresight beats prediction. Well, thank you for listening and stay connected to Be Financially Mine.